Okay, the first exercise today is a side plank. So you can be up on your hand or on your elbow. You can also be up on your feet or on your knees, depending on your ability. So you're wanting to have your joints stacked, that's shoulders, knees, hips, and ankles. Making sure you're in a straight line. So again, if you're feeling this in your lower back, you're turned too far forward. If you're feeling this in your quads, you're turned too far back. So really make sure that the upwards pulse is being felt in your oblique, and this should be the bottom side of your core. So just focus on that. I put my head down, but you can look straight ahead if you'd prefer. Whatever gives you that real isolation in the side of your core is the way that you should be doing it. And you can raise your hand up to make it a little bit more difficult as well. After 60 seconds on one side, we are turning over and doing 60 seconds on the other. So same thing, you're just pulsing upwards. So you're lifting your hips up towards the sky or the ceiling. And you're just getting that really focused burn and isolation on the inside core, so the lower side of your body. Now we're repeating this on the other side again. So this time it's 30 seconds on each side, and you can pulse and count 30, or if you have a clock, you can just do it by a timer, whichever you prefer. So we're just doing 30 this time. And then we're switching and doing the other side for a final time. So again, just really making sure your joints are stacked and you're feeling this on the lower abdomen. So your obliques on the lower side of your body. And you can see too, the pulses are just really, really little movements. So don't worry about lifting up and down. You're just working a really tiny little muscle on the side there. So just small little pulses is all you need to get this exercise correct. Next, we're doing 1 minute stationary bicycles. So these are slow and controlled. You're not doing this exercise fast at all. You are trying to get your body in the habit of using your core to lift your legs up rather than use your hip flexors. So really, really make sure your belly button's pulled in towards your spine and that you're engaging your core muscles so that you're lifting your legs up with your core. I'm supporting my head with my hands just because of a neck injury, but you should have open elbows and a raised chest, not pulling your neck up, which it looks like I'm doing, but I'm not. So really make sure you're protecting your neck, and you're just moving each foot in. You're coming up to 90 degrees and down to flat. So you're just alternating in that motion. If you start to feel this in your lower back, make sure you stop, readjust, and then keep going. You want to be feeling this in your core, not your back. The next exercise is reverse crunches. So I'm not using momentum to get my legs up. I'm using my core to get my legs up. There's a really big difference there. So make sure you pull your belly button in and you're lifting your legs up with your core, not just swinging your bum up and down off the ground. This should be a really deep, isolated burn in your core. You should not be feeling this in your hip flexors, and you should not be swinging with your feet at all. This is a very small movement. So we're just doing 1 minute here. If you're having a really hard time and you're feeling this in your hip flexors, maybe just stop and stretch them and then carry on with the minute. You should be feeling this in your core only. Next, we have side crunches. So I have my feet or my legs moved at a 90-degree angle to the left, and then I'm just crunching up and I'm engaging my right oblique muscle, so the right side of my core. Every time I come up, I'm really making sure that it's my core squeezing, it's my core moving my upper body. I'm not tugging on my neck, I'm not pulling myself up with my arms. I'm really engaging that small little muscle on the side. And you can move your hands around, move your head around, whatever gives you that isolation is the way that you should be doing it for your body. So don't think about what it looks like, just think about how it feels. And then just repeating on the other side. To really help with isolation, drawing your belly button in is going to help with that a lot. And when you're doing movements like this, one side and then the other, it's important to be mindful if you do have a stronger side or weaker side, and try to focus on balancing those out to prevent injuries and help with posture, etc. The next exercise is flutter kicks. So same thing as with the bicycles, you're really moving in a controlled way. You're not just fluttering your feet. You're pulling your belly button in and really drawing it in towards your spine so that your core is engaged. This is another core movement. So really, really make sure you're feeling this deep in your core. If you feel it in your back, just stop and readjust and get that core engagement again. The next exercise is hijacks. So in this version of hijacks, we're keeping our spine on the ground throughout the entire motion and really trying to press our lower spine down into the ground, pulling our belly button in towards our spine like always, and keeping a really strong engagement in our core throughout this exercise. If you need to stop at any time, it's so much more important to do that than it is to push through and feel this in your lower back or your hip flexors. We're really, really trying to engage our core here, which most people don't have a strong engagement ability. So just focusing on that deep core movement is going to really strengthen your posture and your overall body composition. So really focusing on that deep burn in your core. Next, we're just doing a leg lift hold. So you're keeping your feet just a few inches off the ground. Mine are actually quite a bit up, but wherever you can get that isolation to press your lower back down into the ground and really feel that deep core engagement, that's where you should be holding your feet. So like all exercises, don't worry so much about what it looks like, just worry about what it feels like. So I pull my head up a little bit because that helps me press my back down, but I'm doing it in a protective way. I'm not reefing on my neck or just tugging on my neck. I'm just doing it to get that really strong isolation. And you can see I even took a little bit of a break just to make sure I'm really doing this exercise properly.